Hello and welcome to Reefcraft. Today we're going to be looking at a heap of different species of Montipora in the wild. Montipora is actually my favourite genus, so I've been excitingly waiting to do this episode. This next clip, this coral patchwork you can see is almost entirely Montipora species. It does a really good job of demonstrating the diversity of this genus, showing all its forms from branching through to plating, scrolling, and even encrusting versions of Montipora. Now to start this video off, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Drop a comment if you know what the species of this thing is. It looks like a Montipora, but is it? I'll reveal it all towards the end of the video. Okay, today we're starting with a species that is very close to where I live. This is Montipora turtlensis, and it's actually a temperate coral Montipora, which is extremely rare. These ones were found at Rottnest Island, and a lot of the time they're confused for Montipora mollis, which to be honest, I'm still not 100% sure I'm correct on the ID. Montipora turtlensis is usually encrusting, forming these massive plates and nodule upgrowths that you can see throughout the middle of these, where mollis is more thicker plating than any sort of nodular upgrowths. This species actually ranges across a lot of different places, but when it grows down here, it bleaches when it gets too cold, like this one here. This next species can take over massive areas of reef, and it's Montipora hispida. This one is an awesome Montipora because it has so many different growth forms. You can see all its branches in the middle here, and it has different tiered plates and scrolling, and it always looks different depending on where you find it. If it's getting smashed by waves and really turbid water, it tends to grow like this right in the middle in between all those acropora. If it's not, it tends to plate out and sometimes scroll depending on the conditions. And pretty much everything you can see here is hispida. Look at how incredible that growth form is. Now I know you're going to love this one. This is Montipora verruculosus, and it's a bright red version, which is pretty rare. And I found this one on deep reef slopes around Bali. This Montipora forms thick, flat, horizontal plates that can sometimes reach up to 2 meters. It is covered in these dome-shaped bumps called verrucae, and around the perimeter you can see these verrucae line up and form these ridges that radiate outwards around the colony. Montipora grisea is one that is more of an encrusting species of Montipora, and this is an incredible blue and red one, which sometimes we call Superman Montipora. This is just a wild version of it. I mean, look at that. That thing is just standing out in the reef. It's completely different to anything around it. For how much variation there is in the colour and growth forms of this next Montipora, it is not common enough. This is Montipora caliculata, which I sort of call the brain Montipora because of its unique pattern. Like a lot of Montipora, it doesn't really fit one growth form because it does encrust, it does plate, and it also can shoot upright branches. Look at the incredible colours of this particular specimen. As a Montipora enthusiast, this is one of my all-time favourite dives when I found that coral. When I usually find it looking like this. It's sort of brown with a bluish edge, but you can really tell its texture is way different than anything else. But the rarer colours of these red, pink and blues are definitely out there, and I'm finding them more commonly now. This pinky peachy green polyp one was absolutely awesome in Leafu, New Caledonia. This next one is a massive plating Montipora palawanensis. Check out those epic blue polyps you can see littered throughout the whole colony. This one was actually quite deep. This was around 25 meters. And this encrusting one that you can sort of see across the bottom of the rock is Montipora floweri. And it kind of looks like the green eggs and ham Montipora that we get in the industry. Purple and yellow has to be one of the coolest colour combinations of any of these Montipora. This Montipora is Montipora peltiformis, and I found this pretty commonly in really shallow areas around Fiji. It really closely resembles a Montipora called LA Lakers Montipora in the industry. However, these are all wild, and it's actually their main colour form that I find them in. Typically you find them with nodular upgrowths around the centre of the colony like you can see here, but they do plate off around the edges, and a lot of Montipora, doesn't matter what species it is, shows many different types of growth forms, which makes them really hard to ID. But this next one, verrucosa, is pretty typically quite easy. It looks extremely bumpy and the texture of it is a dead giveaway. Its verrucae, which are those big domes, are much larger than any other species that resembles this. And its corallites are immersed in between all the bumps, and they're usually brightly coloured like these ones are all blue. Now this next one has actually stumped me. I'm not sure if it's Confusa or if it's Spumosa. Now I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with Spumosa because of the amount of upright growth it has throughout the center of all the colonies. I've always thought when I find these species, they kind of look like a crown on top of the reef or a hat because of the plates around the outside and all the upright growth growing towards the center. Check out this massive purple plate of this Montipora monasteriata. Now for this clip I actually try and go in a bit closer with my clip-on lens, and it's okay, it's not the best, but you can kind of see a bit more of the polyp detail and the immersed polyps or corallites in and around the colony. This species is actually pretty common along any sort of reef drop-off area. Montipora danae is a stunning species and incredibly popular in the aquarium industry. This one here was a really nice find, that peachy reddy colour, but where I was diving on the Great Barrier Reef, unfortunately there was a lot of bleaching of this particular species. There had been a big cyclone go through and a lot of rain rushing out heaps of stuff from the land. So it's not surprising to see some of these corals under stress. This one here, it doesn't show up how iridescent and blue it was. It didn't look as white as the pictures, but it's really obvious, you can see it from the boat, and it's really sad to see these corals struggling. But being off on a deep drop-off, usually the water quality can change quite quickly, so hopefully this one will come back and be better than ever. Oh, yep, and we've got a purple scroller next, Montipora crassituberculata. Damn, that name took me a few times to say. I didn't just find it in purple, I found it in this limey, greeny, yellow colour in Fiji, and you can kind of see it here. This is sort of its typical growth form where it forms encrusting plates, but it can form those tears or whorls as it gets bigger and grows in certain environments. This one here on top is a blue version, and then underneath you've got a really nice blue colony of Montipora aequituberculata. Blue is an extremely rare colour morph of any type of Montipora, and is so cool to be able to show you guys these ones. I've got heaps more videos of this species, but I'll put it in the next part so I can dive into it more deeply. Onto another blue Montipora. This is Montipora verrilli. This is a very thin, encrusting Montipora that does send off plates when it reaches the edge. It's an interesting Montipora for the fact that it's not really found in Australia or Southeast Asia. It's found to the eastern side of it, but it's mainly in the Pacific that you find it, and I was very lucky to find these all around on different islands in Fiji. They weren't common, but you did find them on these reef tops or reef flats where it was quite turbid still, but also, 5 to 10 meters. And this is one of my favourite species of Montipora. This is setosa. It doesn't really show the upright growth that it typically has, but this was growing in really deep water. And this is one that I'm putting out to you guys. What do you think this species is? Because I'm not 100% sure. It could be caliculata. I found it in Ahmed in Bali, and I found 2 different colonies of it. Strikingly purple. This one here was on a deeper reef drop-off. Again, not 100% sure, but what do you guys think? Alright, what did you guess? It's actually a sponge. This is a scrolling sponge species that grows in the shallow waters of tropical areas. I just love how much it looks like a Montipora. If you've liked this video, go and check out some of my other videos. We've got some on fish, corals, and everything else you can find in the ocean. I'll have some links pop up on the screen now. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe because part 2 of the Montipora will be coming out sooner or later. And leave a comment if there's anything in particular you want to see. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. I'll catch you next time.